What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Three Rivers Podcast. This is episode 4. I'm your host, Kruz Shoemaker. I'm here with Andrew Singo.
What's up, guys?
Today, we're going to come to you this week, something a little bit different than talking about Pittsburgh sports. We're not going to do any Penguins, Pirates, or Steelers talk. We're actually going to talk about something a little more personal, probably to each other, and something that everyone goes through if you're a sports fan, and that's youth sports and the impact and future and just our experiences and our beliefs in youth sports. Andrew, first I thought we'd just start with what we have experience-wise with youth sports. Obviously playing them, growing up, I played almost everything from hockey was my primary sport. I was the goalie, from baseball, a little bit of football, a year of soccer. I didn't wrestle. And did not play basketball, but shot basketball like 365 days a year at my dad's house. So that was my kind of past. What all sports were you involved in growing up?
It all started with, baseball with me, and then I actually switched to basketball, and then after a while, I ended up switching to soccer.
And soccer was your main.
Right. I was only allowed to play one sport in school at a time.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I was only allowed to play one sport, because my dad was busy, so before I could drive. And then I had to work otherwise, so I wasn't really able. It's a difference in experience of like you being able to play all the sports, and I wasn't.
Sure.
I love all sports and everything, and I love football, but I was never really interested in trying to play football because I was always tiny, so it was never a thing for me. But I love, baseball and soccer especially. I love hockey too, but that wasn't an option. So,
well, right, it's not an option for a lot of people, unfortunately. But and now, come around, I was the head coach and don't know what it'll be going forward with Somerset hockey, but out of high school. And then out of college, I got the head coaching job of the freshman/middle school, because it changed names, then changed the division age changed, for Somerset hockey for 8 seasons as a head coach, and then 1 year at JV as the head coach at JV last year. And then this past year, or this current year, I am now helping with my nephew's machine pitch and Little League team. So that's my now experience on the coaching end. What all have you helped out? I know you helped out a few things and have coached a few things.
So I've helped coach Little League back, that was probably 7 years ago, 8, maybe I was right out of high school almost. So help with Little League, Rockwood's Little League team, which no longer exists. I have 2 Kingwood teams now, but then I helped coach my sister's 5th and 6th grade basketball team in Somerset, and which was an interesting experience. I've never worked with girls before.
Yeah,
it's a lot different
for sure.
And then also for 3 years, most recently, helped coach Rockwood's Junior Legion baseball team. I no longer do it. My cousin, mainly, my cousin doesn't do it anymore, but it's just I'm too busy at work now and stuff, and we used to just kind of put work on the back burner for baseball, but we kind of don't do that anymore. So
yeah, no, that's the thing. If my nephews weren't doing Little League, I would not be, probably volunteering my time to help out, but I do enjoy it. The biggest thing I want to talk about topic-wise with the youth sports is kind of, I guess, my own personal opinion on youth sports from past experiences, and then you can kind of chime in on your beliefs. But in my opinion, youth sports, the main primary focus of a youth sport should be to keep the kids out of trouble, to give them something extra to do. But the competition part of it, I feel like clouds a lot, in my opinion, for a lot of people. And I'm not saying we shouldn't strive to win and strive to be the best at what we're doing. I think that everyone should do that. But I think the overall views of youth sports get kind of muddy for some people because they put the winning aspect of it too far in front of the actual true, objective of what a sport's going to do. And it drives a lot of kids in and out of the sport. So what I mean is, if I go back to a past experience of mine, 7th grade football. So hockey, the rink closed in our hometown and moved about 30 minutes away. So it was my brother's senior year, 2001. My parents were like, hey, we can't drive you to hockey this year. You're not going to be able to play hockey this year until they figure out more transportation things, whatever. So my dad encouraged me to go out as a 6th grader for Pee Wee football. So I played 1 year there and did really well. As an older kid in a youth league, dominantly kind of do a lot better just because you're bigger and faster than all the kids. So had fun there. And then I came out in 7th grade. Now, 7th grade football at my high school is really weird because that's all of a sudden all the kids that were in the Pee Wee come out at once, and it's a huge 40 to 50, 60, whatever. They got almost 70 kids on it, to be honest. Probably almost 70 kids on the roster. Just amazing amount of kids. But what happened was the coach was a new guy to the area, and he tried to do the best he could. I'm not really blaming the head coach, but the problem was he got associated with an assistant coach that was a previous coach of one of the Pee Wee teams. So every kid that was in the head coach's year that should play was everyone that played for just that Pee Wee team. So I played literally an average of a minute and a half a game my whole 7th grade season. That's it. And I remember I went in, and 7th grade is difficult. There's a lot of big kids, and I was still a smaller kid at that point, but I was still one of the faster kids and still pretty athletic. So there's no point of me not being on the field, but I was not presented with an opportunity to really play football. Had a very non-enjoyable experience. So it comes to the end of the year. My dad's like, you're done playing football if that's what happens. And I'm like, well, I don't want to play football anymore now anyway. That was really boring. That was dumb. I didn't play. Pretty much now told that I'm, not a football player, I guess. I don't know. That's the message is sent to me. I guess I suck at football. The nice part was in 8th grade, the hockey team needed a goalie again. I went back to hockey, rest is history there. But the ironic part was the football coach of the high school team my senior year was the gym teacher then. So what's he do? Everyone come out and play football, right? In the first nice day of the year. So we go out. We're playing football. I scored 6 touchdowns, running past everybody, flying around. So at the end of the gym class, we're walking back we were outside on one of the soccer fields. We're walking back to the gymnasium, and he goes, Shoemaker. I'm like, yeah, what's up? He's like, do you ever think about playing football? I'm like, I did. Played in 7th grade, played 2 minutes a game, and was quit. He's like, whoa, that's a shame. I mean, you'd be, one of the fastest players on my team. You'd be a great asset. You should think about coming out. All that jazz. And I'm like, well, look, dude, you got ruined for me. But why I wanted to bring that up, a lot of people predetermine at a young age, if the kid's not an all-star, that he's not worth putting time into. We're already telling kids at sometimes 7 years old, 8 years old, that this sport's not for them. You're just going to go sit out in right field. You're going to be the catcher that in machine pitch where there's not a real catcher. You know what I mean? We're already predetermining these kids to be in these positions. We're not putting them in any positions to play. And but I don't want to put people at fault that volunteer, because the first thing I want to say is also anyone that does volunteer to help coach anything is very much appreciated. There's not a lot of people around that do that anymore. And I'm not going to fault the people that have the mentalities of I need a win. I want to fault the systems that we put in place for this, right? 7th grade football, you should be playing everybody, right? That's pretty silly.
You're not going to win some sort of title.
Going to develop kids at 7th grade. So, why I want to bring it up is I went through puberty, all that through high school, and turned out to be a really fast kid, and I got some size to me by my senior year. I wasn't as skinny, and I was still pretty skinny, but not as skinny and slim as I was in 7th grade. I mean, 7th grade picture, if you look at it, looked like an anorexic kid in a football uniform. But I would have been a probably pretty decent football player if I would have played. But they lost me at 7th grade because they predetermined that the 4 kids that played on the Irish were going to be the kids that play every game, which Somerset football had problems long time for a lot of things, and they did kind of fix it now. I don't really pay attention much anymore, but hopefully it's still better and kids are still playing at all ages. But why I want to bring it up is also now I'm helping with this machine pitch team. But I just want to bring it up because everyone that is helping out has all great intentions. Mm-hmm. The thing is, what I want the league to be is they should give 2 innings where everyone bats through and you're encouraged to play players anywhere. And there's no scores. And then turn around and flip it where the final 4 innings are scored and you play hard or whatever. Because we're still already predetermining in that league because everyone's worried about the win at the end of the game. In machine pitch, if you have 2 good kids, you can play them at pitcher and first base, and they're going to see majority of the balls. No one else is going to see the balls. And again, it's not anyone's fault. It's just the nature of the league that has kind of been created. That if you don't play it that way, then you get mercy rolled.
Right.
If you play it that way, you have a good chance of winning. So again, I just feel like in youth sports, we can try to look at the bigger picture and the development of the younger kids and say, look, the more that they're actually attempting to do, like if a kid can't catch a ground ball by making them sit out in right field or something all year long, and then at practice, a new style that hockey kind of brought in, but it probably isn't credited to just hockey. It's probably just went to hockey, and then I realized it because I'm more involved in hockey. But the ADM repetition system, where instead of, hey, every kid line up at first base, third base, whatever, and I'll hit you a ground ball, 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 hit you a fly ball, you a fly ball, you a fly ball, then we'll do it again. Now the method is give me a group of 4, you take a group of 4 over here, and I'll take a group of 4 over here. I'm going to work on hitting, you work on ground balls, you work on fly balls, and then we'll rotate. And hockey's the same way. You work on a passing group here, a skating group here, and a shooting group here, whatever, then you rotate. And it's been proven that it accelerates because they're getting more repetitions, because repetitions, the power of, everything. I mean, the more you do something, the better you're going to get at it. So, I don't know. It's been very difficult, my experience with joining into baseball, with wrapping my head around the development. And again, I don't want to, I'm not throwing anyone that's helping it under the bus. I just feel like the systems of youth sports could be thought about a little more, because the future of youth sports is dipping hard, as we know with the smaller area that we're in. I mean, I know there's other areas that are going to be a lot bigger and a lot safer, but our area, I feel like, is going down pretty hard. Keeping people around. I already know there's a bunch of kids that did play machine pitch that now only play soccer. They're already out of baseball at 7, 8 years old because they had bad experiences up there. That's not what you want as a youth organization. You know what I mean? You want your numbers are going to go down as the ages go up, just because kids start to find one sport or they like one better than the other. But it shouldn't be as hard, and it shouldn't be because the kids had a bad experience. You know what I mean? But I want to hear your thoughts on youth sports and development a little bit.
So, after actually coaching for a while, boy, I'm really conflicted, because I agree with what you're saying, but then I think about, man, what age do we stop? This sounds mean to say, but what age is development not the main focus and winning the main focus?
I think around the 14.
So I was gonna say,
age group, then that's when I think it starts to become, in my opinion, more of okay, now you're focusing on one sport and you're focusing on one position and you're focusing on, hey, you're a starter and you're gonna have to earn if you want to start, you're gonna have to earn it. I think it's around 14 range. I
mean, I was going to say that's probably a good place, because we went, that way.
But the problem is, what my experiences have been, I'm seeing that at 7 and 8.
Yeah.
We're already predetermining he's the first baseman, he's the third baseman, that's the shortstop. And it's holy shit, these kids can completely flip within 3 years. And that kid that's really fast now, all of a sudden isn't as fast. And the kid that could barely run all of a sudden super fast, this kid hit puberty, he's super strong or whatever. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think there is a stopping point, yes.
I mean, we saw it in, coaching 5th and 6th grade girls basketball, that it came to a point where anytime something was going on, we had one good ball handler. Mm-hmm. and that's a tough thing. A lot of these girls have never even played basketball before.
Sure.
So you had one kid that was a decent ball handler, and you're just like, if you needed points, you're like, hey, you take the ball and just go get points.
Right.
And that's probably not the best way to go about it.
Sure.
And everything. And it's obviously not the best way to go about it, but it's almost like that human, especially that male urge to win.
Oh, yeah.
We get that.
Well, again, and that's why, like I said, I'm not going to fault anybody for doing some of the things that I've seen done and saying that's wrong or whatever, because I understand why it happens. I understand the thought process of it. Like, again, the machine pitch league that we're in, I talked about at the beginning of the year with even some other coaches and stuff, because I worked with one of the coaches, something where everyone kind of wanted to rotate positions, but then the first 2 games, my team mercy rolls a team 20-4, and another team mercy rolls a team like 20-6. So all of a sudden, the 2 teams that got mercy, they went, I'm just playing my only 2 kids that can handle the ball at the primary positions, and that's it. Everyone else can rotate wherever.
Right.
So then all of a sudden, it is not the rotation league, because again, I understand it though. If you don't, now you get mercy rolled. Now the kids want to quit anyway because they're not having a fun time.
If you get killed, you don't want to do it.
Again, what my answer is the league could provide innings of, hey, the scoreboard's off, everyone bats, try to get out. So when they get out, they're out. But we're just going to bat around. You bat around one time, they bat around, and we'll do it for 2 innings. And we're going to encourage, switch the positions up. Whoever you got playing at first, even if you do it every 3 batters. All right, rotate. And everyone rotates. You know what I mean? Like, then you're working on everyone just trying to develop. And if they make a mistake, it's no big deal. You try to help coach them. I'm coaching, helping their kid out. I see him at third base. He's trying to, a ground ball comes and he stabs at it backhand or something, and it's right at him. It's like, hey, I would help him out because we're all here to coach. Because the other thing is, too, it's supposed to be an in-house league for the overall high school. So we're supposed to be building these kids to all be future Somerset, potentially high school baseball players. But yet they're kind of getting, already built. And an in-house team should want to beat the other in-house team. I'm 100% behind that. But you want to, in my opinion, create the most competitive in the most balanced league if you're in charge of an in-house league, right? Like my brother's actually getting a lot of flack. He's running a in-house hockey league because people already, hey, we had some good kids. Can we keep the same kids? And he's trying to blow it up. He wants to blow it up each year. Like we're going to redo teams each year because we want to be the most balanced. We don't want a dynasty team. We want balance. So again, that gets kicked though because the people that are helping out, they're competitive. They want to win. They had a good team. They wanted to have the same team. So again, it is hard. It is tough, but in my opinion, if it's still these youth sports, not like once they start getting to high school and like travel ball at the teenagers, yes, and then specializing, and we're starting to look at singular sports. But I still think every kid should play every sport, just my opinion. If you're an athlete, you're an athlete. Like it doesn't hurt to play soccer and learn how to kick a ball and then turn around and want to be a stud baseball player. You know what I mean? Like, you look at Sidney Crosby, he can hit a home run out of PNC Park, and he probably can kick a soccer ball around like he played soccer forever. He's a stud.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, the guy's a stud. If you're a stud athlete, you're a stud athlete. You got it. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't play one game of organized basketball, but in gym class, I'd get picked before basketball players to be on a basketball team because I was good at basketball. I did it all the time, and it naturally coordinated. You know what I mean? Like, I could naturally dribble and shoot. It wasn't, something that came hard.
Also, kids are different today.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I don't want to be an old person. I play video games as much as the next person, but all kids want to do is play Fortnite now. No kid, there's not a lot of kids. I know you may, like your brother's kids are maybe the exception, but a lot of kids anymore, especially when they reach that teenage age, they're not going to go outside and just practice by themselves. There's not a lot of them that'll do that anymore.
No, and it is weird. I agree that even the attention span, we have
it's way less.
We were hitting fly balls at practice, and the one kid came out of the batting cage, got in the line, all of a sudden Minecraft came up, Fortnite came up, and I had to yell at it, guys, Fortnite and Minecraft starts in a half hour, we're still baseball.
Right.
Like, you need to learn how to catch a fly ball right now. Mm-hmm. None of you guys in that line right now can properly catch a fly ball besides like one. So I want to get all of you guys to catch a fly ball, but you have to be focused, you have to pay attention, we have to do it. But then I also think back and I'm like, but were we as hard ass as we think we were?
That's
you know what I mean?
That's
like,
true.
were we actually as hard ass in the sports as we actually want to pretend we were? Sure, when we look back at it now, like, yeah, damn right, because I was pissed we lost that game. But then if I actually think about it, I was like, I was fucking off in line. I was doing, I was joking. So it's kind of hard at times to actually say that and then look back at because it's hard to look back at yourself, right?
Right.
And so I do agree. Sometimes I think to myself, I'm like, but was I actually that hard ass? Like, yeah, I love playing goalie, and I wanted to win more than anything, but fuck, I went to practice and used to deflect pucks at one of the coaches' heads intentionally. Like, me and Wes would literally redirect pucks at the one coach's head and try to hit him. And I was thinking, but man, that's fucking, what a dick I was. Like, dude, that's an asshole thing to do. Like, I didn't even think about it, but I did it we would do it at the one practice. And then, shooting pucks at people, different things. I even going to when I was in school. When I was in 9th grade, I was an asshole. I'd walk down and shoulder check every 7th grader that was smaller than me. I'm not going to lie. I did it. I'm not going to lie.
Well, we did that our senior year just in the hallways of the school.
Right? So, I mean, yeah, looking back when you're kids is tough.
Well, what do you...
Because...
Okay. Well, no, if you want to...
No, I was just going to say, like, when you look back, you think you're...
Yeah.
When you look at yourself, you think of one thing, but then when I actually look back, I'm like, well, maybe I probably would have been the kid talking about Fortnite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that would be me.
Like I would have been in line.
That's true.
Getting
distracted. But I will say though, especially when I reached high school, I did take every game seriously.
Oh no, yeah, but then again, like I'm saying, I'm talking about. Even below that. I'm talking about below 14. The high school team, we don't have, like, I'll compare it to the high school hockey team. We have all levels. We have from 5th grade the whole way up to senior, right? And yeah, it's hard at the middle school age. They're all over the place. Their minds are all over the place. But you get that varsity team in the locker room, and we even say it again. They're not as serious as what I used to be. I'm like, yeah, they are. When game time kicks on, they want to win. Right. They don't want to fuck up. They want to go out there. They want to do the best they can. They're working as hard as they can. In the locker room, I was like, my brother's age people, I remember walking in the locker room when I was a little kid, and you guys are freaking, dumping people's bags in the shower and pissing on them and stuff. And I was doing the same things, locker boxing. We were all doing it. Don't pretend like, because when you walk in the locker room, they're not all sitting there super quiet thinking about hockey, that we were anything different. We took the 5 minutes to think about hockey before the game, but we also fucked off for the first 45 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, looking back. But yeah, I think at game time when you're older, kids like that, again, the plus 14 and up range, yeah, they do compete and get super competitive. So I don't know. It's tough looking back at it. I don't know if there is an exact answer.
Well, I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on something off of that. I guess this could get offensive too, but I guess the politics that exist in youth sports.
Sure. Well, again, I'm not going to drop names, and throw anyone under the bus. But yes,
and along with that, my thing is, and you're kind of an example of this, but. Everyone is involved with helping with youth sports because it's hard to get volunteers, but the issues of having parents be coaches, and especially at the high school level, that I find that because you may not have that as much at Somerset, but that's a big issue here in Rockwood.
Oh no, it is. I mean, it's an issue any sport thing. Like,
and I'm saying not just Rockwood. It's a lot of places.
Absolutely,
a lot of people. There's the optics that if someone's dad is the coach of the team or someone's mom is the coach of the team, that they're only concerned about their kid. Whether they are or not, those kids are going to think that.
I'll talk about my dad. Right. I had a bad experience with my dad, and I'll openly talk about it because he's the reason why I quit baseball. And I'm not going to shy away from it. I'll talk about it, and I'm sure he would say the same thing if he was here right now sitting with us. My dad built us a backstop at my house. I had to pitch a ball and hit a ball almost every single day when I get home from school. And I enjoyed it. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it. I got home, there was a ball or a stick or something in my brother and I's hands all the time. We loved running around the yard playing sports. So I always find it funny, people, they play those video games. I was outside just as much too. But guess what? Right. There was rainy days, there was shitty days, and there was nights.
Right.
We were inside playing video games during those times. It's okay. Right. It happened. Yeah. It's fine. But anyway, my dad's hardcore baseball. I actually liked when he was my coach from... It would have been when I was 9 to 11. We had a area travel team that he had me on because he wanted to keep me away from the politics of Somerset. He knew our last name wouldn't hold much value up there, and I probably wouldn't get treated well. So he tried to hold me away from playing the main Somerset Little League. But as my coach, he was actually better because he had to worry about all the other kids and worry about their development. When he became my parent, though, when I went to Somerset at 12, 13, and 14, that's when we had a lot of conflicts because he could only singularly look at me, but he was just as verbal as he was when he was a coach.
Right.
I'd be on the pitching mound, throw one ball. God damn it, Kruz! Hit the strike zone. Pitch right to the glove. Next pitch, it's a strike, and next pitch, then they get a hit. God damn it! And it was constant. And he was meaning well. He was trying to do the right thing. Like I said, I had no resentment to go against this because he came full circle around. When I was 14, my last 3 or 4 games, he would tell me, just go up, relax, why don't you have fun? Go enjoy the game. I was crushing triples. I was fielding without any errors. But the funny part was, when I was 12, we had a couple scrimmages. I'd go 4 for 4. By the third game of the real lineup, whenever things turned real, he would turn that heat up and he would make I'd be gripping the bat tight, and all of a sudden I'm batting 7th in the lineup. I can't hit the ball anymore because I'm constantly in my mind just trying so hard because I wasn't relaxed. I wasn't, focused or, I was over focused. I wasn't relaxed. I wasn't comfortable. I didn't feel comfortable in the batter's box and stuff, so I'd struggle. And again, I loved hockey because I would tell my dad, I was like, you don't know anything about hockey. You can't tell me anything. So we had a battle. I'm not gonna say that's not real. I mean, we'll talk. Like I said, my dad would talk about it, and we learned from it. But yes, now the problem is, with seeing my brother with my nephews. Does a good job, but I can see my dad come out a couple of things at times, and I don't know. It is tough, but who else is going to coach the teams?
Right. That's very true.
You know what I mean? There's a guy in Somerset that does means well. Doc Yaros. You know what I mean? He's going to coach Rotary and continue to, but I just got off the phone with my brother and we talked about there's not going to be that type of people. And I've already admitted that if my nephews aren't involved, I'm not going to continue helping out with Somerset baseball. And maybe that makes me an asshole too, but that's a lot of time, a lot of commitment. Right now we're trying to record these podcasts and I'm hopefully there's a rain day.
Right,
Make it down because I'm getting off work, I'm going to the ball field, I'm spending the ball field until dark. And then by the time I finally get home, I'm not going to want to run down here and record a podcast. You know what I mean? So it's not that I don't want to help out with youth stuff. It's just, man, you're committed, and I just can't really commit. Unless I would have a kid involved. Or I have family involved, so I will commit, and also live right at the ball field, so it helps. I don't know. It is tough to talk about with the parent thing though. Because it is kind of ironic. My brother has always talked about it with hockey. He goes, I always wanted to make sure we didn't have parent coaches, and we did a good job of that. And I'm like, well, now
it's going to come that way.
Here it comes. Next year, you're a parent coach now.
Right.
So it is tough. I mean, like I said.
I know from the unique experience of for me, coaching either kids that I had no connection to or coaching kids where one kid's my cousin, and I see everyone else involved with the team, the parents talking to the kids, and the worst thing that any parent can do to their kid it sounds lame to say that, but it's like yell at them and put that extra pressure on. Especially when we're at this age where, especially 13 to 16, these kids know what they're doing.
Sure.
Like, if it's a coach yelling at them, that's different. But when mom or dad says, like, Billy Bob, why didn't you make that play? Or, why'd you strike out? Or something like, what do you think he's going to say?
Right.
Like, you're going to piss him off.
Sure.
And I've dealt with it.
When my dad would say things to me, my God, I'd get so pissed. Because it's like, well, no shit, I didn't want to give up that fucking goal.
Right.
But I gave up that goal.
Right.
I know I know I have to be doing this, but I didn't do it. I'm trying to, like, you know what I mean? You just get pissed. Because, I didn't go out there and say, hey, I want to fuck up this game.
Right.
I want to make sure I strike out 4 straight fucking at-bats. No, I don't want to do that. So yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen, like, the kids throw the tantrums and stuff because their parent says something to them and it just sets them off.
But then the parents get pissed because you're talking back to them.
Right.
So you're in a tough position as the kid because now you're, making that spark even hotter, and it carries on. And like you said, it is tough. One of the biggest things that I have my role is, especially with the hockey team when I was a head coach, if I see something go wrong, a player does, when they come off, I cannot tell them just something they did wrong without telling them something they did positive also. Like, so when they would come off, let's say defensive zone, a centerman's not in front of the net. They leave a guy wide open. They score. Instead, they're, still outside the neutral zone. But the previous shift, or when they're in the offensive zone, the kid carried it wide on our attack and dropped it back perfectly like we asked. So when the kid, let's say, comes to the bench and sits down, I'm gonna go over to him and go, "Hey, defensive zone. Come on, you know better. I need you in the zone. I need you in front of the net, right?" Yeah. I always want to get that. I want them to say right. Too and agree. I want them to make sure they know that that's the mistake and the correction, right? And then if they don't, I'll help correct it. They'll confirm, no, I should have been there. That was my guy. But hey, by the way, offensive zone, that's exactly what we want to see. Keep doing that. Work on the D zone, offensive zone. That's what we want. Let's keep focusing on doing the right things, because you don't want to keep beating them with negatives, then they're confused. What do I ever do right? Right. You know what I mean? That's what I look at it. If you keep the coaches that are always just negative and always hitting on the negatives, now you got the kids confused because they don't even know if they're doing anything right. Mm-hmm. And that's not good either. You know what I mean? So, and I know the Little League coach even said, like, he said 4 positives and 1 negative. I was like, that's that can be tough. That's kind of stretching it. I mean, I always try to at least find 1 positive in something, no matter what it is, even if it's just, hey, when they came to hey, you did a good job of getting better at getting on the ice quicker on the line change or something. Anything positive, just to try to find something.
I believe SpongeBob called that a compliment sandwich.
Compliment sandwich. Nice.
But honestly, I think the absolute hardest thing about coaching youth sports is it's the parents that it's the parents that know better, first off, let me preface that by saying, first off, like you said with hockey, most parents don't know hockey. Like for me, most parents don't know soccer, but they think they do.
Everyone still knows it way better than I do.
Right.
And because
it's just the same thing as the Pittsburgh sports fans, where they're like, I know football better than Mike Tomlin. He should be fired.
Absolutely, 100%. And it's the same with when I coached the middle school hockey team. My first 2 seasons, I tried to oppose all the better players on different lines, so they would all have 1 good player and then 2, players that were going to get better. Well, then I realized in year 2, I was like, shit, I'm just developing 3 kids essentially. I'm telling all the other kids pass to just those kids that are on their line with them, and then don't do anything else. So I switched it from years 3 to 8 or whatever. I'd put my 3 better kids together on the line and make them have to work together at their skill level. And then I would take the next 3 and put them on a line, and then the next 3 on a line. And that line 3 might go out there and they're stuck in the D zone for, whatever until we got a whistle essentially for the first game. But it was amazing. By games 3 and 4, all of a sudden they're breaking out together. They're learning how to play together. They're learning how to play with each other, and they're learning how to play the game because they're not just relying on, oh, that's the better player, here's the puck. They had to figure it out, and they figured it out together. And then the better kids, they knew how to get out, but they got kind of cocky at times, right? They they tried to play individually, and then I challenged them to work together. And all of a sudden, by games 3, 4, 5, they're learning how to play together. They're learning how to trust each other. They're learning that they can trust teammates. But the funny part was, we weren't winning a lot of games because I'm worried about development first, right? That was my mentality. I said, I don't give a shit. I want them to be able to walk from 8th grade to 9th grade and be able to step on the varsity ice. Almost every kid. And whether that sacrifices a bunch of wins at this middle school level, which allows them to have a bunch of chances at wins at the varsity level, because we're not getting kids that are playing hockey at 5, 6 years old like it used to be. We're getting kids that are coming in at a very later age, and we're trying to turn them into varsity hockey players in a very short time. And hockey's the hardest sport to do that. You can't just grab a kid that's a super athlete and turn him into a hockey player. Yeah. It's not like football where
if you could
go run and catch. Right. You know what I mean? Learn how to catch a ball. You're going to be a good football player. So I was always proud. We had a lot of kids, man. They would go from that 8th grade to 9th grade and they could fit right in. So it was working. But damn, we weren't winning games, so I was the probably worst coach to everyone else that was involved. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I never paid attention to it, though. I could care less what other people would think of me. But I'm pretty sure all the other parents and stuff probably hated the shit out of me. Like, we're not winning games. He needs to do this better, whatever. Speaking of, even Doc Yaris, the one time we had a little conflict on the bench, and it's been made up since then. He apologized to me and whatever, we explained it, because he thought the game should have been taught differently than the way I was teaching it. So again, like I said, it's just people have those different beliefs, but like I said, I was proud that I stuck to my guns, and it did pay off. And also a lot of people then would go around, I'd hear it all the time, oh man, you got to bring your kid out to play hockey. And they'd be like, well, and the biggest selling point was, man, they let everyone play. Like, I was hearing it around the community and still hear it, you know what I mean? So, like I said, I don't know what's going on with the future of Somerset right now. My brother just came back from a meeting. It sounds positive, but I'm pretty sure I'll be involved. But, that's, again, a trend we're going to continue is middle school doesn't matter, wins and losses. JV will, situational, we're going to put the better kids in. And then varsity, you got to earn your stripes. Yeah. That's how it's always been. And I think it just pays off so much better if you're worrying about developing everybody at the young ages and working it up. And Somerset baseball can't argue anymore that they're way above and beyond anyone else either.
Myersdale has a state championship and a state championship appearance in the past 3 years.
And Somerset struggles right now to put a separate JV and varsity team. Right. So obviously something's not working in their waters right now. And usually the answer, again, and the political answer is, in Little League, we don't pull from enough areas to compete with the other teams, so they need to change the rules. It's like, well, you could also develop a little bit better, probably. You know what I mean? Like, you internally look at yourself, ask yourself, is there anything we could do better? No one up there wants to do that. That's one of the hardest things. I mean, I know I'm getting that. I do that training at work, so it's easy for me. It's the training, but to look within yourself and go, could we do anything better, is a hard thing for a lot of people to do.
Yeah, I mean, what was really intriguing for me is that looking at, Somerset. So first off, they had gotten rid of their Legion team and to do an in-house league.
Yeah, it's weird. Somerset's baseball's got really weird league.
Which seems kind of counterproductive.
Right.
But secondly, Somerset population-wise, or at least class-wise, wasn't terribly far off from like Connellsville that we're going against, in the same league. And Connellsville has 90 kids try out for one team. Somerset has 14 kids on one team. Yeah. They can't fill a team.
I know, and like I said, I mean, I will say Somerset's having a hard time getting kids involved in sports in general. But they're also having there's a competition between whether it's soccer, football, baseball, basketball, whatever. There's kids individually picking sports at a very young age. In my opinion, they should be playing every sport, but that's just, like I said, But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But
the worst thing is still, though, the absolute worst thing to have to deal with, like when I said the parents, it's not just the parents, it's when, because they know better than you, and every parent thinks their kid is the best.
Yes.
I mean, it's just how humans are. We think our child is the best, or we don't want to admit that he isn't.
Right. So I kind of want to do a part 2 to this. where maybe next week we'll talk about travel sports. And then the future of youth sports based on the fact that travel sports, because I mean I guess we can cover it basically now. It's not a lot to cover, but so travel sports used to be, like, I'll throw hockey as an example. Let's say the top tier of hockey, let's say, is called AAA. Hockey likes to always throw elite on things. I don't know what it's actually called, but we'll call it AAA elite, right? That's top level, right? That if you're a great player, you're playing in that competition.
Right.
The problem is people can make a lot of money by telling your kid he's something special by playing on single A diamond division hockey team that's going to go undefeated. We're going to win it all. We're great. Some garbage league, but hey, people are paying thousands of dollars. Their kid's coming home with a ton of trophies. He looks great. My kid's great. We're winning.
Right.
I got this travel double A diamond hockey league thing that we're just crushing everybody in. We're great. You're playing some garbage hockey league that was created to take money out of your pockets because you think your kid's way better. That's what it was designed to do. You just fell right into the trap. But now they walk around, their kids come to the high school games, they got their blue shells, their blue helmets for their travel team, they got their travel stickers on, they're out there hot dogging in the warm-ups, not being a teammate, because we play on the all-star elite double-A hockey team. We're the best. Like, no, you're not. If your kid's actually really good, you're in the USA Developmental Hockey League or you're up in Pittsburgh playing. You're not playing in local Johnstown, PA, and becoming a pro hockey player. It's not going to happen. Cullen Eddy went to Somerset to play semi-pro hockey. He was up in Pittsburgh playing hockey.
Right.
Like, you're going to, if you want your kid to go somewhere, you're going to fork the money to actually put them in an area where they're going to go somewhere. But man, these little travel organizations, these little things, they're almost like these little pocket, man. They'll grab anybody and tell them, you should come over to us. Yeah, I'll get your kid on the top team. Right. They don't realize the top team's actually just a made-up team to sound good. Right. It's a sales pitch. It's when I used to work at Verizon and tell people, you need this, it's the greatest thing ever. No, it's not. It's actually the worst thing ever. You don't need it. But I'm going to tell you it's the greatest thing, and you're going to buy it because it's going to make me more money.
Well, and then when they come home to their home school to play school hockey or, school soccer or school baseball or whatever it may be, or even, these travel teams, mom or dad goes up to the coach and says, why isn't Billy Bob starting? Right. Why isn't Billy Bob playing this position? And it's like, listen, the coach makes the decisions.
Right.
You may not like them, but you need to live with them. That's the rules.
Sure.
And it's just I've seen it my entire life. This isn't something that's just developed from like a new generation or anything.
Oh, no.
My entire life, even growing up as a kid, seeing other parents of my friends do it and saying like, why isn't my kid playing and stuff like that. Like,
all the time.
If my dad did that, I would have been so embarrassed. Sure. Because I'd been like, wow, way to make me feel like a piece of shit because you literally have to go to complain to my coach that I'm not good enough to play. Right. But, like, you think you're doing me a favor. All you're doing is making me feel like a piece of shit. Right.
No, but I remember my dad did it in, it would have been that Pee Wee football team, but he just asked us a question. So we didn't have a roster. Right. He just said, my kid can kind of throw. Do you guys have a quarterback? And he's like, yeah, we have a quarterback, blah, blah, blah. And it was fine. I didn't care. Right. He wasn't... Trying to say, hey, my kid's he was just asking, like, hey, my kid's 12.
I've dealt with the opposite.
Kid. Right. Do you guys have anyone that can throw, or is that something he should look into? And I was like, nah, don't worry about it. Okay, then we're not going to worry about it. He was just, he was just trying to get that information. He wasn't walking up and going, yeah, you should see my kid throw a football. He looks like Uncle Rico. And he can throw a football over the mountains. I can throw a football quarter mile. If they put me in states they need to. You don't want no doubt in my mind.
Well, but then I've had the exact opposite where like that where it's, well, my son's best at this position on this team, so he should be playing at that position. It's like, well, I'm sorry, but the coach, we don't see it that way. Right. And he should be batting third or cleanup, and it's like, no, well, no offense, but we have a 16-year-old, your kid's 13 and weighs 75 pounds. Right. You want him batting cleanup? Right. I mean, right. It's just, I know. Well, now favoritism happens all the time, but
and you should think your kid's great, right? You should think but you should also, like you said, honor the coach's decisions.
They're the ones that are given their time to do this, right?
And you can personally think every single day differently. That's fine, right? As humans, we don't agree with each other. That's fine.
Right.
It's actually acceptable. But anyway.
I guarantee if I looked at your baseball teams, I would think that
you'd have
different
a different
players.
configuration. Well,
right.
I mean, between my brother, myself, and the coach that's coaching the machine pitch team.
Machine shit.
The machine team. The machine pitch team, there's probably different views within ourselves, all three of us, who should be where, what, how, and the lineups and stuff. But that's, again, whatever the main coach says, though, we'll go with that and we'll support it, and that's because we know it's the same thing with us. When people look at any hockey team I have coached, they probably had different inputs on what they thought people should have played and did and whatever, and that's human nature. But one thing that is frustrating about that, with you saying people backlashing kids playing certain areas and stuff, is fucking goalie in hockey. Why it is not valued is just blows my fucking mind. And then they complain all the time why they can't win, and there's not like a true, or we're working our asses off trying to get a varsity goalie instead of having one developed for a while, because a kid starts playing, he starts doing well, and all of a sudden the mom and dad, he wants to play forward again. We need him scoring goals or something. Well, he doesn't score goals, number one.
We need him scoring
number
goals.
Two,
like, you got some sort of fucking
is he going to score 400 because we're going to give up 405 now?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what the, it blows my mind that people do not find the value in the goaltending position. Like, and it's, in my opinion, the most important position.
I don't think it's not an opinion. It's the most important. Just like goalies.
You can be the top line center scoring a ton of goals. That's great. If your goalie sucks, you don't win a game.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if you don't have a goalie that can capably do it at a high level, you're not going to win a freaking game.
It's like if you don't.
And it was so much fun to play. Like, I could go into a whole podcast about how rewarding playing goalie was. When you fucking made a Rob glove save.
Right.
It's just like, it's like, fuck yeah. Like, fuck yeah. Like, it was the best feeling.
Right.
Like, hitting a home run's probably great. I never hit home runs playing baseball as a contact hitter and didn't have a lot of power, but I'm sure crushing home runs is great, and I'm sure catching touchdowns is great. And I'm sure scoring goals is great. Yeah. I've done it in hockey. But, man, when you make a fucking kick-ass save at a crucial point in a game, there's not a whole lot of feelings in sports that can be probably close to that. When the game's on the line, it's tied, there's a minute to go, they come down to 2-1, they pass it over, and if you get over and you get that pad out and you rob it, it's fucking nasty. Like, you know what I mean? Right. Like, it's so, like, that power's in you you can make that moment. It's just, I don't know, goaltending was amazing, but it's frustrating that people value it as a pretty much worthless position, and then they wonder later on when we're scrambling to try to get a goalie developed why the team's not winning games in. Maybe we had a goalie you could that's an all-star goalie instead of and again, every kid that has come out and played goalie for me and stuff that has tried for Somerset's done a great job, but they're just way behind in development because we're scrambling at such a late time. I don't know. I mean, again, I thought that was good to touch on youth sports here. Do you have anything more to add? I mean, I could probably go on and ramble for another 2 hours about different things that anger me in the development. I guess my overall personal feelings is that when the kids are coming into sports, I would like to see better work on developing everybody, however that can be done. And then, yes, when they start turning into the 12, 13, 14, and they start hitting puberty, and they start showing that, yeah, he's definitely going to be the shortstop. Yeah, he's definitely going to be the quarterback. Yeah, he's definitely a wide receiver. Then we can start specializing a lot more. But man, I just have a hard time with why, as a society, we're already trying to tell kids at these young ages that, hey, you're the shortstop. That's all you're going to play or something. If you want to be a better baseball player, you should learn how to play outfield and infield and first base and third base. You know what I mean? Like, you're just going to be a better overall baseball player. Maybe all of a sudden you are the stud at one position, and then your parents move or something. Right. Jobs happen, and you go to another area, and they already got a whole infield of all-stars. You're like, oh, fuck. And they're like, hey, we need a really good center fielder, though. And you're like, oh, yeah, actually, I'd passed it playing center field. I'll try it. And all of a sudden, you turn into a stud center fielder. But if you're a kid that just was told you're going to be the shortstop your whole life or something, all of a sudden they put you out there, and now you're not even on the starting rotation anymore because you can't play in the outfield, and they already had an all-star infield. It's just develop kids for everything. I don't know. It doesn't hurt to be an athlete. You know what I mean? Like, I know a lot of really good athletes, and they could hit a baseball, they could catch a football, they could even, if you would have gave them a hockey stick, shot a hockey puck, probably not skate, but they could probably shoot a puck.
Well, how much of that
they could hit a golf ball?
How much of that do you think was natural talent, and how much of that was, practice?
Well, see, this is why I'll argue that there's a lot of practice involved.
Obviously
to pick up natural skills of things though. Mm-hmm. Like, I can kick a ball decently, and I never really played soccer besides 1 year 6.
Right.
But because I used to in the yard kicking footballs, different things, work on different things. Like if you told me to take a soccer ball at a certain point and try to put it up in the upper, what do they call it in soccer? Upper 90. Mm-hmm. I could probably do it. Right. Yeah, I'd probably not first try, but I'd give me a few kicks and I could probably hit it. Mm-hmm. But that's just because, like I said, we were always between my brother and my dad, we were always active in doing different things. It was funny when I worked at Verizon. We used to do challenges, and they used to have me throw these little Nerf balls we have at different things. Well, I remember
Dude Perfect.
We did. We Dude Perfect the shit out of it. So I come back from lunch break. I went home, let the dog out or something. I get back, and Cody right away at the door. Kruz, get out here. We need you to put this football through this handle of this snow shovel. It's impossible, dude. Come out here. I was like, all right. So I walk out. He's like, he hands it to me. He goes, how many tries do you think it'll take for you to put it through the handle? I was like, 1. He's like, nuh-uh. I was like, it's not that hard. He's like, it can't even fit through, dude. I throw the first one. It goes over top. Oh. I said, never mind. Give me it back. I'll hit it this time. Second one, put it right through. He's like, dude, fuck you. I was like, I don't know. They were always amazed at how I could throw things. I just grew up my whole life throwing, whether it was baseballs at the wall. I used to throw rocks at we had a little log in my pond that my dad had it was like a night light that would solar power, and then the night would shut. Well, he had it anchored on a log to kind of sit at the water level. Right. But like a year later, it was broke or whatever. So I used to throw rocks and try to hit it. And rocks are hard to throw because they're all different shapes and sizes. Yeah. So they're very hard. Well, I started to learn a flatter rock curves from right to left. A rounder rock won't curve as much. If you put certain spins on it, you can take the curve out of it. So it was weird. Like, I would sit there and throw these stones at this thing, and I learned each one. I was like, man, that one, if you throw it here, I'm going to hit that. And I would hit that fucker like a lot with a lot of rock. You know what I mean? I'd be bouncing consecutive ones. It was weird. I was a weird kid, though. Very, very weird kid. I had a lot of time to do a lot of dumb shit that wasn't bad.
We
throwing rocks at a...
Right. We should maybe have Zach here for episode of doing dumb shit, because he's an expert at that as well.
No, I mean, I don't know. Youth sports, I thought it's a good topic because Pittsburgh sports right now are, the Pirates are doing the Pirates things, which is they're in the hunt. They're around. Penguins off season, not a lot is going to happen yet. Right. And then obviously we got to wait for the Steelers to get around and college ball and all that. So I thought this would be a good episode to show kind of more also what we're about. Yeah. And then also what more to look forward to in the future. That's not always going to be Pittsburgh sports, that we are going to, try to touch on hot button topics and stuff like that. And I encourage people, if you're listening, please use our social media outlets. On Twitter, it is 3 Rivers Podcast. Instagram, 3 Rivers Pod. Facebook, it's the 3 Rivers Podcast Facebook page. And then I would like, if you guys have discussion thoughts, anything, please, hit us up. We're not afraid. You can say whatever you want to me. I'm not going to be offended.
I'll be offended, but
Andrew will be offended. But no, honestly, please, if you have even thoughts about youth sports, something you guys think could help, or something anyone sees, I wouldn't mind starting a community conversation. It's good to hear from everybody. I like to hear everyone's thoughts on it. Maybe, I am wrong, and there's things that you think that are right, and I would love to discuss it. I would love to open up the minds of a lot of people with youth sports, because it's all for the better. Anything to help get more kids active in youth sports and more kids involved, I'm not opposed of. With anything to help bring more kids in and keep kids in it, to keep them off the streets, keep them away from drugs.
That's a big issue in this area.
Big issue in
every area.
Every area
at this point. The drugs pandemic is unreal.
luckily for me, I got to see firsthand personally what drugs can do to people growing up based on people my mom were with. So I never went that route, but I know how easy it is to run into peer pressure. And
some of the best athletes I grew up with ended up, either doing drugs, dying of drugs, doing time because of drugs.
There's a lot of good people I know that have passed away early from overdoses. It's sickening, to be honest,
right?
Because they were great people, great human beings, smart minds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just a lot of good people that unfortunately took the wrong turn. And drugs, I mean, say what you want about drugs, but hard drugs are definitely a big problem.
Yeah,
definitely not something we want our youth to even have a part of it all. I would hope every kid grows up knowing to stay away from that stuff. But again, I encourage everyone, please continue to share our episodes as well. We're on the Google Play Store. We're on Apple. What is the Apple Store? Is it just the iTunes?
So there is an app on the phone called Podcasts, but it's also on the iTunes Store. So
Apple listeners, please share.
We got you.
Google Play, please share it. We're not on Spotify. But those are the two we're on. And then I always put an episode up on YouTube if you want to share that as well. Like I said, please keep listening. I saw our SoundCloud numbers. Each episode's getting a little bit bigger on that, so that's great.
This shit ain't free, bro.
Right.
So you know.
Right.
Everyone thinks this is real easy and free. It doesn't.
This has been a lot of fun work, though. I'll say that.
Definitely.
Do you have anything more to add, though, Andrew?
Not today, other than just, like you said, just support your local youth sports. Kids need to get out there and give things a chance, not get discouraged. I wasn't an amazing athlete growing up. If I ever had anything going for me, it was that I had more of the game in my head than most kids did.
Sure.
Maybe the IQ of the game. I never had the athleticism of other kids.
Sure.
And I always had to outwork other kids, but
those kids are always noticed. I will say,
yeah.
we have an award we give away each year of the hockey team for the hardest working kid because that kid is always noticed and that kid does play.
Right.
If you come in, you don't have to be the most gifted.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to be the most, physically fit or anything, but you come in and you work your butt off every single day, it's going to be noticed and you're going to play a lot.
Right.
For sure. I also want to encourage people to commit to the events too. There's a lot of times where we show up to practices with like one or two kids. Please, parents, encourage the kids and make sure they're, follow up and make sure they're
it's at a young age they shouldn't have a choice. The kid shouldn't have a choice. I mean, whenever we get into that,
that's what I'm saying. All of it,
right.
From there's a lot of times where teenagers know how to pull a fast one and you think you're going to hockey practice 5 nights in a 5 nights, but actually you haven't gone to one for 5 straight practices. But please, I mean, youth sports, like I said, it's a great thing. Keeps people away from a lot of bad things. I wouldn't know what to do if I wouldn't have grown up with youth sports in my background, man. It made such.
We didn't have as great as video games as we do today that I would have been doing bad things.
But I just, even like I said, the bad moments I don't look back and are really mad at. I just have learned from and hope that it can help. Like I said, my dad didn't mean anything bad by the experience I had, but man, I can just think back. But that's why I also wanted to bring up the winning versus losing thing. When I look back at my sports career, it's the memories I had with my friends. And I had all sorts of... I was on the worst teams, and I was on some of the best teams in sports. When I look back, wins and losses don't mean shit to me now. They used to when I played, and they did a couple years after. But the more I look back at it now, I'm like, man, the memories I had with kids, my friends, my dad, my brother, other family members and stuff... Those are the moments that never leave my head. You know what I mean? Like, I can't tell you the record of my Little League team at 12 years old, but I can tell you a lot of memories that happened when I played Little League. You know what I mean? Different things with my dad. My brother and I, a lot of memories between him and I in sports, so it provided so much more than wins and losses. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's not providing those wins and losses. It's providing them moments that they'll never forget. But let's try to encourage and allow kids to continue to have memories and experiences that they'll never forget for the rest of their lives because they played youth sports.
Teach them life lessons.
Oh, absolutely. There's so much. I mean,
these kids today need to learn how to lose too.
Yes, because you're going to lose a lot.
Right. Everyone, that's problem in society. It's like this participation award society we live in, where it's like, good job, you showed up. No, like if you came and got your ass kicked, although there's going to be a tomorrow, that's not okay. It's not okay to get your ass kicked.
Sure.
Like, I think kids need to understand that, okay, we got our ass kicked. We'll show up tomorrow and get our ass kicked, and the next day and get our ass kicked.
Right, 100%.
Learn to hate losing.
Right.
And learn to do something about it.
Get pissed off about it, sure.
Don't,
and try to make yourself better because of it.
That's what I was getting at. Don't be an idiot.
There is that problem, yes, I will agree, where a lot of people accept.
Right.
Well, we just suck anyway. We're going to show up and lose. Well, yeah, with that attitude, you're going to show up and lose. You can change that. Everyone in this room as a team, you can change that. Mm-hmm. If you all show up and work your butts off, you're going to get a win, I guarantee it. You know what I mean? Like,
the best feeling in the world is whenever you right, exactly. You get that win when you were not supposed to have a chance.
Oh my God.
It's the best feeling.
And sports provides that all the time. Mm-hmm. All the time it provides that. I mean, there's, like you said, I've been a part of the really bad team that turned around and pulled off the win or came close, even coming close sometimes. Like,
you scare those good teams. Yeah.
I remember 11 years old, we played a team that beat us every time, and we took them the whole way to the last inning and lost by a run. And it was like the greatest. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a memory I don't forget.
Yeah.
And because we were the underdog that gave a hell of an effort. You know what I mean? It's one of the games that stands out you don't forget. And then I remember when you're the really good team, though, in hockey, there's times where we got over cocky and got smacked in the mouth for it and had to learn from it. That's also great. I got kept off the All-Star team my senior year, and boy, that was the best thing that happened to me, because the second half of the year I turned around and got more focused, more energized, and played even better. I'm actually glad that I got kept off, because it woke me up. Like, it was like, hey, I'm supposed to be an All-Star goalie here, and I didn't make the All-Star team. Something needs to change, and I came back 100% focused and played the second half of the year just amazing. So, yeah, lessons are amazing. Lessons are great. Whether it's winning in, sometimes it can be, if you're the better team, you get beat and you need that lesson. Or, like you said, the underdog story is always amazing to be a part of. But, again, I want to appreciate everyone. Please support us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. On Instagram, I'm going to try to continue to put up more behind-the-scenes-ish type pictures and stuff. It's not easy to promote from. On Twitter, I would like to start trying to get a little more discussion pieces out there for people to try to chime in on. And then Facebook, just nice to keep the page, because it keeps everything kind of organized for us. But again, at Twitter, it is the Three Rivers Pod. Follow us on Instagram at the Three Rivers Pod, and on the Facebook Three Rivers Podcast page. If there's any point in time I call it the Three Rivers Podcast for Twitter, it's Three Rivers Pod is actually what it's called. I don't really have anything more. I'm not sure what we're going to bring to you next week, but once we record, once we get to the week, we'll bring that out. Andrew, do you have anything more?
Just if you're interested, check out our other show as well, Infinitely Nerd, about nerd culture. We don't always talk about, necessarily video games, movies, and TV shows. We have an episode where we talk about the slang of our generation, and if certain things are fatigued in nerd culture, and if that's something you enjoy, give us a listen as well. It's all the same people, so thanks for listening to both shows.
Yeah, guys, this was Three Rivers Podcast. Thanks, everyone, for listening. My name's Kruz, here with Andrew.
We'll catch you guys later.
Have a good night.